Introduction. Volume 4 Journey. Volume 4 begins after Dead End has survived the brutal demon continent and finally reached Windport. Rudius, Eris, and Ruijerd are now standing at a new threshold, trying to cross the sea and move closer to the central continent. The mood is a mix of relief and uncertainty. The group has made progress, but the next stage requires money, planning, and careful handling of Ruijerd's supered identity. This volume is important because the journey becomes more complicated than simple monster fights. Smuggling, mistaken identity, kidnapping, and rescue all become part of the road home. Rudius also gains a powerful new ability in this volume, but that gift comes with discomfort because it arrives through the human god's suspicious guidance. The story moves from Port City intrigue to the Great Forest and the Doldia village, showing how Dead End slowly builds trust with people who once feared them. Event 1. Windport arrival. Windport feels like a major milestone, because the group has finally reached the edge of the demon continent. Rudius sees this as proof that their long, dangerous journey is actually moving forward. At the Adventurers Guild, Dead End hears the strange nicknames people have given them. Eris is seen as a wild fighter, Ruijerd's reputation is surprisingly softened, and Rudius's name is twisted into something awkward. The scene is humorous, but it also shows how rumors shape a party's reputation. Rudius realizes that controlling their image is almost as important as wing battles. Windport also introduces a more practical problem. The group cannot simply board a ship, because Ruijerd's supered identity makes legal passage expensive and difficult. By the end of this event, the trio has reached the sea but not freedom. The ocean is right in front of them, yet the path forward is blocked by money and prejudice. Event 2. The price of passage. Rudius learns that crossing to the Millis continent with a supered requires an enormous fee. The number is so high that earning it normally would delay the journey for far too long. He considers desperate options, including selling his precious staff or finding an illegal route. The pressure forces him to think beyond normal adventurer work. That night, the human god appears with another piece of advice. Rudius is told to buy food and search the alleys, even though he still does not fully trust this mysterious being. Rudius follows the advice because he feels trapped. This shows one of his recurring weaknesses. When he is cornered, he sometimes accepts suspicious help because he wants a practical solution. This event sets up both the demon eye and the smuggling plan. The solution to the ferry problem will come, but not in a clean or comfortable way. Event 3. Kishirika and the demon eye. Following the human god's instructions, Rudius encounters Kishirika Kishirizu, the eccentric great emperor of the demon world. The meeting feels bizarre because a legendary figure appears in such a strange, hungry condition. Rudius gives her food, and Kishirika rewards him with a demon eye. The moment is magical, comic, and unsettling all at once because the gift is far beyond what he expected. After hearing about different demon eyes, Rudius chooses the Eye of Foresight. This ability lets him see possible movements a few seconds into the future. The power looks incredibly useful, especially for combat, but Rudius immediately realizes that accepting it means he followed the human god's plan perfectly. The event ends with a complicated feeling. Rudius has gained a powerful new tool, but he is also more aware that the human god may be steering him from behind the scenes. Event 4. Learning the Eye of Foresight. Rudius spends time learning how to control the Eye of Foresight. At first, the new vision is overwhelming because it shows branching futures that can confuse rather than help him. Through practice, he learns to adjust how far ahead he can see by using different amounts of mana. This turns the demon eye from a strange burden into a usable combat skill. While Rudius trains indoors, Eris continues intense physical training with Ruijerd. The contrast shows how both of them are growing in very different ways. This training section is important because it shows that power is not automatically useful. Rudius has to learn discipline, timing, and restraint before the new eye becomes an advantage. By the end, he can use the Eye of Foresight confidently enough to test it in battle. The story prepares us to see how much this ability changes his fighting style. Event 5. Duel with Eris and Ruijerd. Rudius tests his new demon eye in a duel against Eris. Because he can see her movements before they happen, he counters her attacks with unusual confidence. For a moment, Rudius becomes cocky. Defeating Eris makes him feel as if the new eye has elevated him far beyond his previous limits. Ruijerd quickly corrects that attitude by challenging him. Against Ruijerd, the Eye of Foresight becomes almost useless because seeing many possible futures does not mean Rudius can physically respond to them. The lesson is sharp but necessary. Rudius learns that foresight is not the same as true mastery, and that experience and physical ability still matter enormously. This event balances excitement with humility. The demon eye is powerful, but Rudius is reminded that he is still far from the level of a warrior like Ruijerd. Event 6. Roxy misses Rudius elsewhere in Windport. Roxy arrives with Alinalize and Talhand while searching for people affected by the teleportation disaster. Their path comes painfully close to Rudius's group. Roxy sees Eris and Ruijerd training, but she does not recognize that they are connected to Rudius. Ruijerd's presence intimidates her, and the chance for reunion slips away. This missed connection adds emotional tension, because the audience understands how close they are. Rudius's teacher is searching for him, but timing and misunderstanding keep them apart. Alinalize and Talhand's involvement also expands the rescue effort and connects the story back to Paul and Zenith's old adventuring party. The event is bittersweet. Roxy is near Rudius, yet she leaves without knowing it, continuing the search in the wrong direction. Event 7. Smuggling and the Sea Voyage. Rudius decides to accept a smuggling arrangement to get Ruijerd across the sea. The plan is risky, but it seems more realistic than earning the huge legal fee. Gallus Cleaner appears as the smuggler who can make the crossing possible. In exchange, the group agrees to help free kidnapped children once they reach the other side. Rudius and Eris board the ship while Ruijerd is hidden separately. The separation makes the journey tense, because the group is relying on criminals to keep their word. During the voyage, Rudius observes an S-ranked party protecting the ship from a sea monster. He notices that teamwork can matter more than individual strength. The ship finally reaches Zant Port on the Millis continent. Dead End has crossed the sea, but the smuggling deal now pulls them into a dangerous rescue mission. Event 8. The warehouse mission at Zant Port. Rudius heads to the warehouse where Ruijerd is being kept. The setting feels suspicious from the beginning, filled with hidden routes and criminal activity. Rudius reunites with Ruijerd and confirms that the kidnapped children must be freed. Ruijerd prepares to eliminate the guards while Rudius focuses on rescue. This division of roles shows the party's strengths. Ruijerd handles direct combat with terrifying efficiency, while Rudius uses healing and quick judgment to protect the victims. The warehouse rescue also reveals how ugly the smuggling operation truly is. The children are not just cargo, they are wounded, frightened, and in urgent need of help. By the end of this event, the group has begun doing the right thing inside a criminal scheme. The rescue appears successful, but a new misunderstanding is about to begin. Event 9. Beastfolk Children and the Sacred Beast. Rudius finds the Beastfolk children and heals their injuries. The rescue scene shows his compassion, especially because he acts quickly without demanding gratitude. One child tells him that a dog is also being held captive. Rudius goes back to save it, not realizing that this animal is actually the sacred beast of the Doldia tribe. When Beastfolk warriors arrive, they misunderstand the situation and assume Rudius is one of the kidnappers. Their voice technique incapacitates him before he can properly explain. The mistake is frustrating, because Rudius has just saved the children. Still, the Beastfolk are acting out of fear and anger after their children were stolen. The event ends with Rudius taken away as a suspected criminal, while Ruijerd prioritizes returning the children safely and gathering the rest of the group. Event 10. Rudius imprisoned. Rudius spends days locked inside a wooden cell. He knows he could escape by force, but he chooses to wait because he does not want to worsen the misunderstanding. This waiting period tests his patience. He has done nothing wrong, yet he is treated like a criminal while the people who can clear his name are absent. A man named Geese is eventually thrown into the same cell. His relaxed attitude contrasts with Rudius's growing anxiety, giving the scene a mix of tension and comedy. As time passes with no word from Ruijerd, Rudius starts considering escape. The situation becomes more urgent because the rainy forest village feels increasingly unstable. This event ends with the first sign of disaster: fire. The village is suddenly under attack, and Rudius's imprisonment becomes a deadly obstacle. Event 11. Fire in the Doldida village. Rudius escapes the cell with Geese and sees the village burning. Human attackers are killing adults and trying to kidnap children during the chaos. Even though the Beastfolk falsely imprisoned him, Rudius immediately decides to help. His reaction shows that he can set aside resentment when innocent people are in danger. He summons heavy rain over the forest to put out the fires. This is one of the clearest examples of his magic being used not just for combat, but to save an entire community. With the smoke clearing, the Beastfolk can fight back more effectively. Rudius's support begins to turn the situation against the attackers. This event changes how the village sees him. The person they called a criminal becomes one of the main reasons their children and homes survive. Event 12. Fighting the kidnappers. After helping control the fire, Rudius joins the fight against the attackers. His stone cannon and other spells allow him to stop enemies quickly without losing control. The village battle is chaotic because the attackers plan to strike while the strongest warriors were away. Rudius slowly understands that the warehouse rescue is part of a larger trap. The beastfolk warriors begin coordinating with him, and the emotional atmosphere shifts from suspicion to reluctant trust. Rudius's actions also save the women who guarded his cell. Their surprise shows how dramatically their view of him changes during the emergency. By the end of this event, the immediate attack is being pushed back, but the person behind the scheme is still waiting. Event 13. Gallus Cleaner Showdown. Rudius confronts Gallus Cleaner and learns the true shape of the kidnapping plot. Gallus planned to use Dead End and the Beastfolk rescue as distractions. Gallus is not just a smuggler. He is a dangerous North God-style fighter. His confidence makes the fight feel far more threatening than a normal criminal encounter. Rudius refuses Gallus's offer to join him. That refusal matters, because Rudius is choosing a moral line even when the enemy seems physically superior. With the sacred beast and geese creating openings, Rudius finally manages to strike back. He uses magic to survive a close fight he could not win through physical ability alone. The showdown ends with Gallus defeated. It is a major victory, because it exposes the entire scheme and proves Rudius's courage to the Doldia tribe. Event 14. The larger kidnapping plot. The full kidnapping plan is revealed to be wider than one warehouse or one village. Multiple attacks were coordinated to steal many beastfolk children at once. While Rudius fought in the village, Ruijerd and other warriors intercepted the kidnappers trying to escape with the children. This shows that the rescue effort succeeded on multiple fronts. The captured children are returned, and Gallus is handed over to the authorities. The criminal plan collapses because Dead End and the Beastfolk ultimately fought on the same side. This event helps repair Rudius's reputation among the Doldia. He is no longer the suspicious outsider in the cell. He is one of the heroes who helped save their families. The resolution opens the door for the group to remain in the village during the rainy season, turning a painful misunderstanding into an unexpected alliance. Event 15. Slow Life in Doldia Village. Gustav, the village elder, invites Rudius, Eris, and Ruijerd to stay through the rainy season. Travel is difficult, so the party enters a calmer period inside Doldia village. Eris learns that Ghislaine originally came from this village. The stories about Ghislaine's rough younger days surprise her, because she knows a very different version of her mentor. Rudius tries to learn the Beastfolk voice technique, but he can only imitate a weaker version, because he lacks their special vocal structure. Ruijerd becomes friendly with Gustav, and Eris builds bonds with younger beastfolk. These peaceful scenes help soften the tension created by the earlier misunderstanding. 3 months pass in relative peace. The Doldia village becomes more than a place of conflict. It becomes another stop where Dead End leaves behind a better reputation. Event 16. Holy Sword Highway. When the rainy season ends, Rudius, Eris, and Ruijerd prepare to continue their journey toward Milishan, the capital of the Millese continent. Geese talks his way into joining them, adding a lively and unpredictable presence to the road. His survival instincts and humor make him memorable even after the prison incident. The group travels along the Holy Sword Highway, a special road through the Great Forest, where monsters avoid the path because of its mana-rich properties. This road gives the journey a sense of momentum again. After months in the village, the trio is finally moving forward toward the next major city and the next emotional challenge. The event acts as a bridge from Doldia to Milishan. The road is peaceful, but the story is preparing for another important reunion and confrontation soon. Event 17. Guardian Fitz. The extra chapter shifts attention away from Rudius's party and focuses on Fitz, giving the volume a wider view of events beyond Dead End's journey. Fitz's role as a guardian shows another side of the world after the teleportation disaster. Other survivors are also adapting, hiding, and protecting themselves in unfamiliar places. The chapter adds mystery, because Fitz's identity and situation are connected to larger future developments. It is quiet, but it carries major long-term importance. This side story also balances the volume by reminding us that Rudius is not the only person changed by the displacement incident. By including Fitz, Volume 4 plants seeds for later arcs. The main journey continues, but another important storyline is quietly growing in the background. Conclusion. Volume 4 ending. Volume 4 ends with Dead End having crossed the sea, survived criminal plots, saved kidnapped children, and earned trust among the Doldia beastfolk. Rudius's eye of foresight becomes a major new ability, but the story also warns that power alone does not solve everything. Judgment, humility, and trust remain just as important. Eris and Ruijerd continue growing alongside Rudius. Their party becomes stronger not only because of combat, but because they learn how to move through complex social problems together. The Doldia village arc turns a false accusation into friendship, showing how Rudius can win people over through action rather than excuses. The volume closes with the group back on the road. The journey home continues, but the next stop will bring another emotional test.